Okay.
You
This
mean the
one,
LPA and the AMD no difference, right? For Muslim.
no different.
No different.
Because it's only LPA and AMD applies when we are still alive. So the Islamic inheritance only apply after death. All right. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Okay, everybody. So let me just introduce myself very quickly. So I'm Rizwan. I'm one of the cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in 2020, and hopefully, this year is my 6th year in remission. So I'm a financial advisor for Financial Alliance, and this company that I'm in, the Modern Muslim Finance, is catered specifically to Muslim community, Muslim families and individuals when it comes to estate planning and the Islamic inheritance or Islamic finance holistically, right? So these are my background lah. So I'm a associate estate planning practitioner. So I recently got my certification in January. I learned the non-Muslim estate planning as well. Whatever Muslim, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, shared earlier. That is what I also learned during the course. So for me, my work, I specifically talk about the Muslims family. I'm also, I'm a stage 3 survivor. 2020, I go through the chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and alhamdulillah, thank God that I'm survived and I got the opportunity to continue learning. And now I'm sharing with the community because what I realized during that time is that there's a lack of knowledge when it comes to Muslim inheritance. A lot of, sorry to say lah, our Malay Muslim community, most of them do not want to talk about death, do not want to talk about will writing. Even the LPA right now, the ministry, the government has been encouraging the community to do, and yet still there are still some friction to it. So that's why we are still here to conduct. So these are some of the pictures that I sharing. I'm conducting with my team for Modern Muslim Finance. Every month we conduct the inheritance class. So we conduct in English, of course, some a bit of Malay as well, but majority of the time we conduct in English, and it has been going around for more than 2 years, 3 years. And like I explained earlier, we focus not just the inheritance, we focus on Islamic finance. So these are the topic that we talk about very briefly about income, insurance, investment, independent, and inheritance, specifically to Muslim families and individuals. So today I'm going to share with you just very briefly and very specific about Muslim inheritance. It's roughly the same, only a few and this is where I want to share lah. Alright. So, and just a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. So what I'm sharing today is really based on my experience, based on the experience that I get from my client, from my customer, from my students, those participants, that we get their stories. Then this is I share with you lah. Right? Okay. So from what shared by Muslim earlier, who think that as a Muslim, there's no difference? Can just write whatever we want in the will. I can, for example, I want to give 100% to my wife. Who over here think I can do that as a Muslim? Good. Roughly, you all know. So, as a Muslim, there's some restriction when it comes to estate planning and, especially when it comes to the will writing. Right? So, not everything can be willed away up to our desire lah. You know? There are some restrictions that we need to follow. And earlier mentioned, there's the act known as the Estate Succession Act. That's for the non-Muslim, ISA. For a Muslim, there's an act as well. It's known as Administration of Muslim Law Act. Basically, this Administration of Muslim Law Act is an Islamic law implemented in our civil law in Singapore. So as a Muslim, we have our Sharia law, the Islamic law that we have to follow. So we always joke around. Singapore is a most Muslim, non-Muslim country because it's a non-Muslim country, but there is a Sharia law in Singapore that is protecting us Muslim. Whereas if you compare Singapore, compared to other countries, for example, the British, the European country, or even the Australia, they do not they do not recognize. They do not recognize. They only recognize the civil law only. They do not recognize a Sharia law. So they wouldn't know what is why Muslim cannot do such that's a restriction. So in Singapore, we are very thankful because there is a Sharia law implemented in our legal system. That's why the AMLA is very important for us. So as a Muslim who pass away in Singapore as a Muslim, we have to follow AMLA. And because of that, there's a restriction when it comes to the will writing. I want to share with you the Islamic Law of Inheritance, also known as Faraid. Right? This word Faraid is an Arabic word, but the translation is the Islamic Law of Inheritance. This law states the distribution specific to our immediate family members. If we have son, if we have daughters, even our parents around, there's a specific shares already appointed and given to them. Stated where? In the Holy Book, our Holy Book, the Al-Quran. Right? So we cannot divert away from the shares that's already mentioned by the our Islamic law. So that is one of the restrictions that we cannot mention in the will. So because of the Faraid, we cannot, for example, my children have their own portion according to the Faraid, right? The Islamic Law of Inheritance. I cannot mention in the Wasiat or in the will to give a specific portion or percentage to my children. So that's the restriction. However, the purpose of the will in Muslim as a Muslim is really for an administrative purpose. Because when we pass away, everybody knows when we pass away, all our single asset will be frozen. Then who will be the one assessing? So it's really about the administrative purpose, right? Yeah, okay, I'm going. Yeah. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, in the Faraid, the Islamic Law of Inheritance, there's a specific division, portion given. For example, the parents, spouse, and biological children. We mentioned here biological children. So only biological children are in our inheritance. Those that are stepchildren or adopted children, if a Muslim pass away without any planning, they do not get anything at all. Depends on the estate planning. If we are just focusing on will writing, if we do not write a will, our adopted children, our stepchildren will not get anything from our estate when we pass away. So having the inheritance, the law of inheritance doesn't mean that a trusted person is already assigned. Yes, there's a portion of shares given to them, but it doesn't appoint your executor, doesn't appoint the guardian, where the purpose of the will in the first place is to appoint the executor, appoint the guardian, especially if we have children below 21 years old. Who are going to take care of them when both of us, husband and wife, no longer around, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, the will is really for administrative purpose, for our Muslim point of view, alright? Because everything will be frozen, then who is the trusted person to be in charge of the estate? And that's why a will is still a necessity for us Muslim. Again, so it's to appoint the key people, make bequests, even though we cannot give to our specific family members, for example, our spouse, our children, our parent, we can give it away to our stepchildren, the one that's not biological. Earlier, they are not automatically inherit from us, right? The stepchildren and adopted children, they are not the automatic beneficiaries. So we need to mention them in the will, Islamic will, under the bequest portion, right? The only limitation for the will is 1/3 of our estate, or in percentage is 33%. So we cannot will away more than 33% of our estate outside of our beneficiaries, rightful beneficiaries. So for example, I can only will away up to 33%, for example, to my nephew, because my nephew is not my immediate beneficiaries. Or for example, I want to give to a charity, or to a mosque, or to a cancer donation, charity, whatever, I can only do a maximum of 33% legally lah. Alright. In the will, I cannot do it more than that. So if someone pass away and they have this intention of doing charity, but they do not make any will, does the family member knows? So really, when we talk about estate planning, will writing, it's not really about how we want to. It's about conveying the message to our family member, how we want our estate to be passed on, and making sure that our family member know what we have. Especially if you say about the schedule of asset when you pass away, we don't know the deceased asset that they left behind. So it's the responsibility of the next of kin to find out. So for us, we write. For myself, I mean, for everybody lah. The purpose of us writing a will is actually to make our family or next of kin process easier, right? Without the will writing, without the estate planning, everything will be painful. So that's where we want to ease the pain lah, right? Smoothen the process, yeah. So I want to share story. One of our participants shared with us because of the frozen account, and then she had multiple siblings. Her late father has, as a Muslim, we can marry more than one wife. So the late father has 3 wives. Then she has many siblings, step siblings, blood siblings. So when the father passed away without any estate planning, they all have to decide on who is the administrator. And to appoint an administrator, it has to make an anonymous decision by all. Means they all have to come together and agree on that one particular administrator. She shared with us that it took them 17 years and still not yet able to access the deceased estate. So that's how complicated that situation was. It's the longest that we have seen. On average, for a Muslim community, in our Muslim community, it's about 6 months to 3 years for someone to pass away without a will, for the family member to access the estate. So with a will, the process will be shortened to as fast as 2 months. We have seen before. Some cases less than 2 months, within 1 month also get the ground probate ready, so that the executor can access our estate, right? So really, the power of the will, basically, again, just repeating, it's really about appointing our executor. The executor is the one in charge of our estate, managing all the frozen account, because upon our death, our immediate family member need liquid to access our bank account. They still need to survive. They still need to feed themselves. They still need to go to work, children to feed, children to school. So guardian is the one, executor is the one that's gonna do all those access lah, right? And then guardian for the minor children, and the bequest, maximum of 1/3. Again, maximum of 1/3. Wakaf basically is the charity. Comparing to the conventional non-Muslim will, you can do any percentage that you want, 100% to even 100% to a charity. Then you do not leave anything behind for your family member. Also we have seen, during the course of the EEPP course, there's a scenario that shared with us that 100% of the estate of the deceased, he will away to a charity. Then the children all start being angry. Why my parent, or why that particular father never leave anything behind? So we do not know lah. While they are still alive, don't know how their relationship is. So compared to a Muslim, we cannot will away 100%. Regardless, whatever our planning is, at least 2/3 will be given to our beneficiaries, which is our parent, our spouse, and our children, right? If we do not have any bequests, for example, if we do not mention anything about charity, then 100% will be given to our beneficiaries. Follow according to the Islamic Law of Inheritance.
In equal portion?
Sorry?
In equal portion?
The Islamic Inheritance? No, there's a different specific portion to it.
Okay, can
Yeah.
specify the point.
No, cannot. We cannot specify because it's already specified in the Holy Book. So we need to follow the distribution, the shares according to the Holy Book. How much the spouse we get, how much the children we get, and our parent we get.
Does that mean it's out of, let's say I
Mm.
one third is really given to, like, say, charity
Mm.
or so, then out of that 2/3, then
Yeah.
they will follow that
Correct.
percentage.
Yes. So there's a calculator, online calculator that is available for us to do because it's very, very mathematically hard lah to do the calculation. So thankfully right now with the technology, even the Sharia court in Singapore provide us the calculator for it. So we just input how many your family tree lah, how many siblings you have, how many children you have, and how many are your parents still alive. Then they will do the fraction for us. So accordingly, I mean the distribution will follow according to that fraction lah. So this is where the main point for us Muslim is the Sharia court. For a non-Muslim, you can straightaway go to the family justice court and then you can assign the administrator or the executor, then it will be distributed. For a Muslim, this is the one particular institute that we need to do. But thankfully, it's an online application. There's no need for us to go down to the court anymore. Basically, I remember earlier the Faraid, the Islamic Law of Inheritance, it was already mentioned in the Quran how many shares will be given. This is where it will state, and it will be officially, it's an official certificate lah, issued by the Sharia court. Then with that, with the inheritance certificate and the will and the schedule of asset, then the executor will need to apply for ground probate. Then it's follow the same. We just need this particular step. So sometimes during this step, we mentioned earlier, it's only given to rightful blood relative, right? Have you seen cases or heard cases whereby you don't talk to that particular sibling anymore? Or that particular, oh, I don't want to talk to my parent, I don't know where my parent anymore. I've been living on my own for the past how many lives? So this is where a lot of case start. Sorry to say that, right? Because they cannot call, they cannot determine whether that particular family member, whether still alive or not. Because of that, no matter what, that family member or that particular executor have to declare to the court. For example, this particular person who is the relative of the deceased, for so many years cannot communicate, he or she the executor need to declare to the Sharia court that they have tried their best to obtain the particular or to get in touch with that particular person in order to move forward. It cannot be hold there forever, right? So the estate need to move on. So this is where a lot of our we got a lot of inquiry regarding the Sharia court because the Sharia court will only get information whatever we input to them. They wouldn't do their own checking. Right? Okay, so basically the will for a Muslim, the main portion, the main difference is the 1/3, right? And this particular institute that we need to go to. When it comes to estate planning, for example, earlier we mentioned about joint tenancy, CPF, and insurance, and there's even a trust, right? You might not mention it, but some people know it. As a Muslim also, we can do trust, but a living trust, not testamentary trust. We can do a trust while we are still alive, but not upon death. So you have heard before a trust where you make the trust of upon my death, open a trust and then follow accordingly to the letter of wishes in that trust. No, we cannot do that. We can only do a living trust. Then for joint tenancy and CPF nomination, these are just a few of the estate planning tools that is permissible to us, even though there is the Islamic Law of Inheritance earlier that I shared with you. So this is giving us the flexibility to do our own estate planning. For example, the joint tenancy and joint account, or even the CPF nomination is not part of the conventional will. It's the same applies to us also. So sometimes, for example, just giving you an example, for a family or a couple who only have children, daughters, right? But they have sibling, their inheritance will be opening up. The shares will be given to the sibling as well if they only have daughters. So this is just one of the law lah, right? So sometimes the couple might not want that to happen. I don't want my sibling to get whatever I have. I only want to give to my daughters and my spouse. So we share with them. You can do CPF and insurance nomination, or you can even have a joint tenancy, arrange the joint tenancy agreement, change the manner of ownership of that property to joint tenancy, so that that property remain within your direct family member, or your CPF nomination given to your whoever you desire. It doesn't. If you do not do the nomination, it will definitely open up to the sibling earlier, right? This doesn't apply to the single account lah, the single property, single bank account, single shares, investment, everything single have to be followed by Faraid, the Islamic law. Yes.
Very curious. On the previous page,
Hmm.
you mentioned about child has been not been
Yes.
sometime.
Mm.
But what does the Sharia taught? I thought it proven that the
Mm.
five children.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, the five children.
Yes. So in Singapore, there's a registration of birth and death, right? As long as we cannot provide the proof of that particular person pass away, it will be still part of the inheritance. Yes. So we cannot omit that particular person just because we cannot contact them. So it will be stuck. Then it will just go back. For example, I'm the one that applying for the inheritance certificate. That I cannot cannot find that one particular uncle, for example. Then I just submit to the court that okay, these are the details that I have. It will be stuck here. Then it will be bounced back to Sharia court, because the law of Singapore knows who are the ones that still alive and dead. So cannot. That's the thing. We cannot keep quiet. Yeah, cannot. So in Singapore, because there's a registration of death and birth by ICA. So because of that, especially for Singaporean lah, unless it's you are foreigners, then there's no way for us to determine. Then we continue lah. But for Singaporean, right now we are talking about Singaporean born in Singapore, born in Singapore. Then there's always a registration of death lah also. They will have that record, then they will say something wrong with our inheritance certificate, go back to Sharia court to get it correct.
Like the family members now, then they be own foreign citizenship, right?
Unless until the time that we can prove to the court that that particular person passed away, it will be still part of our inheritance. Yeah, until proven death, or even there's a time for a missing person reported for how many years, until how many years, then it will be considered that missing person died, for example. That is I forgot how many, what's the duration.
But how would Sharia taught or family taught
This is where we do the declaration to the court lah. Yes, correct. So one of the step for us who apply for the inheritance certificate, we need to declare to the court the oath lah, the declare of oath to the court, saying that we have done our due diligence to get in contact with that particular person, and still cannot get. Okay lah, cannot be. It's not right for us to delay the estate any longer. So that's why we take the oath lah.
Let's say a Singapore Muslim man has two wives. First wife Singaporean, second wife Malaysian. They live in Malaysia. He dies in Malaysia. Dies in Malaysia.
Dies in
Which
Malaysia.
law applies?
Singapore law still apply.
Singapore law or Malaysian law?
The Sharia, the inheritance law apply to all Muslim regardless where you stay. So there is a shares given to the spouse, but only living spouse. So you only declare to you only declare those alive, and right now, for example, the wife supposed to get right, then you cannot prove the death certificate, means it's not. In the first place, does the court know that you are married? The marriage need to be registered in Singapore, even though it's married in Malaysia or overseas. When the couple come back to Singapore, right? Supposedly registered in Singapore as well, ROMM, the registration of Muslim marriage. So whatever marriage taken overseas have to be registered in Singapore as well. If that particular couple do not register in Singapore, so there's no record of it, then it's okay. Sometimes that's where the blind spot is lah. The family member might not declare because they are not happy with that particular marriage. There are many. So during this stage, they do not declare that overseas spouse. Then how? I mean, we are talking about legality in Singapore lah, right? Legally, that spouse is not recognized and exists as if that person doesn't exist lah. Where else, this is where we look at the Islamic perspective. We as a family member, we know that particular person has a spouse in overseas, then we do not declare, then is it right or wrong for us to not declare? That is our spiritual belief lah. So we got a lot of scholars, a lot of opinion from our leaders in our Singapore Muslim community. So they have been sharing with us, whatever we do, our planning, we have to be transparent. There's no such thing as hidden marriage, hidden family, or even hidden investment, bank account, cannot. Because eventually, they have to be known by your family member. You build up your wealth for so many years, for what? Then you die, then your family member do not know that you have it. Sorry to say, I mean, I might be aggressive because a lot of people doing secret sideline, secret saving, but then when you pass away, your family member do not know what you have. Whereas you have that specific planning for it. For example, you want to give to charity, you want to give to your grandchildren or your children, but you do not declare, then how? So it seems for Muslim also. Yes. No, they are not. So there's a the boys get more than the girls. 2 times more. 2 times more. So it's 2:1. So the fraction, I can't remember specifically because, okay, for parent, I remember each of our parents get 1/8. For husband, we get half. For us, a wife, we get 1/4 if the husband pass away. So that's the difference. And that fraction is mentioned in the Holy Book. So whatever, after distribution of the fraction, the remaining of that fraction is distributed 2:1 to our boys and girls children. So the fraction for our parent, 1/8 for both mother and father. Then for husband, half if the wife pass away. If the husband pass away, the wife get 1/4. Then the children get the remaining 2:1 if they have boys and girls. If they do not have, if they sibling, we only get when our father no longer around and we do not have son. But for example, if I have a daughter and I only have my mother that's alive, my distribution will be given to my sibling. They will still get the remain whatever remain. So whatever fraction that we do, if we from one whole, then we minus the fraction, then there will be the remains, right? Whatever remains will be given to my sisters in equal proportion. Okay, sorry, I need to drink water. Yeah, so the dryness is the same lah.
Either from let's say a parent is non-Muslim, but one of the children is a Muslim. So the view of it is the same?
No. Okay, let's look back for a Muslim with a non-Muslim parent. If that particular person pass away without a will.
No, parent got a will.
Parent got a will.
Parent got a will, want to
Oh, want to pass to the
all the
Muslim.
children,
Ah,
one of them
Muslim.
is a Muslim.
Can. A Muslim can inherit anything from a non-Muslim. However, it's not.
Don't need to go through all this.
This one is for Muslim. This one only applicable to the Muslim child lah. So for example, the parent write a will to give away to the Muslim children. Can.
Non-Muslim don't need to use all this.
Don't need. The non-Muslim straight away go the top one. Don't need to go to the Sharia court. Follow whatever written in the will.
Then if the son want to give some to a non-Muslim parent,
the son is a Muslim.
Yeah.
Want to give away to the non-Muslim.
But he want to children need to write a will, right?
Yes.
So can he write a will
to give to the parent? Can. But the limitation is 33%.
Okay. But your law is you just want to say the parent 1/8, right? So your non-Muslim parent will not get the 1/8, right?
No.
You only apply to
Muslim.
parent.
Yes.
Under bequest.
Okay.
So only maximum 1/3 is can be bequeathed to the parent. The remaining of the 2/3 is given to the charity automatically. For those reverts who convert to Muslim, so they have to mention their parent in the bequest in their will, or even the other estate planning nomination or joint account, joint tenancy. So that one will be given a gift to their parent, non-Muslim.
I say that trash and
No, don't have to.
a child ran overseas and still at one. But
No, he okay. So that child initially was a Muslim, then renounced the religion. That child will not be part of the Faraid, will not be part of the inheritance law. So it need to be mentioned in the bequest. Bequest. Right? Yes. Muslim. Yes. Yes.
Let's say in the case where Lawrence shared, right?
Mm.
The child is the only Muslim. And what if the child remains single and he doesn't have any like spouse? And what happens to the
This 2/3 will be given to the charity in Singapore known as Baitul Mal, which is the trustee is our MUIS, the Islamic bodies of Singapore. So the government in Singapore will take that 2/3 of the deceased estate and give to the charity. Right.
Just now you mentioned about the percentages. There's no way to complete that thing.
You mean bypass the override the inheritance law lah? Yes, understand. That's the end of it. Basically, what we are trying to say is the inheritance law will only apply when there's no agreement within the family members. Whatever we decide, for example, I personally have a son and daughter, so I want to give the equal portion to my son and daughter. If I do not do any planning, I do not write anything at all, we just follow the Islamic law. However, this is where I just sharing my service that we provide a document known as letter of wishes to write down and state my wishes upon my death, that I want the estate to be equally distributed to my children. In the end, it still need to be agreed by my family members, whether they agree to it or not. If they agree to it, okay.
By your sibling?
No, not my sibling. My Faraid, my beneficiaries according to the Islamic law. So right now, my Islamic law beneficiaries is my mother, my wife, and my 2 children, just the 4 of them. So right now, the 2 children is still below 21, so they do not have right to say anything lah. But eventually, when they reach 21, they have the right to say and whether they want to.
21.
Yeah.
Not 18.
not 18, 21.
So if your wife and your mother agree, and
then
you can write yourself like a will, right? Your wish,
it's under letter of wishes. It's not under will because because the will is a legal document. If we write anything of that instruction in that will, when it's tendered to court, right, it'll be rejected.
Yeah.
I mean,
your letter of wishes sent to where?
it's just a supporting document to the will. It's a separate document. Again, it's for my executor, so that my executor knows what to do when they assess my asset. Sometimes when we assess the deceased asset, we don't know what to do with it, right?
So agree, that means they must sign on that your wishes.
That letter of wishes is not a legal document. It's just an instruction. Again, in Singapore and Islamic perspective, we can write anything we want as long as it is agreed by our family member. If we write it in the will, that portion will be rejected in court. However, our other portion, when we mention about the executor guardian, can still be carried out to be given. For example, the grant of probate and the assigning of our guardian to our children will still carry out. However, if our bequest goes against the Islamic law, that portion will be rejected. We have seen cases, a lot of Muslim families and individuals engage non-Muslim lawyers. Then they do their will according to the conventional will. Then they mention, for example, give to my wife or spouse 100%. But they still mention the executor and guardian. So in that scenario, the court will reject this portion, the bequest. However, the executor and the appointing of executor and guardian can still proceed. Only the distribution being held. Being rejected lah in court. Yeah, so very going to finish also. Okay, sorry. So this is just the flow chart that I shared earlier. Without Wasiat is the Islamic will. So typically in Singapore, it will take about 6 months to 5 years to get that letter of administration, because all of our beneficiaries need to agree upon. Need to agree on who to appoint the administrator. It's the same for conventional, for non-Muslim as well, right? With a will, inshallah, the process will be faster lah, because it's involving lesser people, and you already appoint your executor. Who is only the executor will be the one doing the application. So even the same for conventional or non-Muslim, the purpose of us writing a will is not really about distribution. You need to understand that you need to appoint the trusted person to assess your estate, your asset that is frozen upon your death. So without the will, it will take at least 6 months to 5 years. Can you imagine within that period, your family members do not have access to your estate that you have built up for all these years? I know you shared with your family member, okay, these are the assets that you have, but different assets, different platform also have their own ways. Especially HDB. HDB, we want to know who is the administrator or executor upon our death. They will not do anything. They will not allow the family member to do anything until the administrator or executor is appointed. Alright? Okay, so just a summary. Just share with you, we are also will writers, qualified will writers specific for Muslim. So one of the many documents that we provide other than the will is the schedule of asset earlier, because that is one of the requirement by the court. The court will want to know what asset that we leave behind. That is where it's the same for Muslim and non-Muslim. When you apply for grant probate, the form that you need to fill is the schedule of asset. So it's really to help your family members upon your death to assess, to let them know what you have. Then a lot of a lot of money spent when engaged lawyer. Sorry. So sometimes we want to help our family member or our community to at least cut costs, and whatever you can DIY yourself. Not the rewriting itself, but the process of applying the ground probate. So that's why we provide the guide, and yeah. Okay. Thank you. Is there any questions that you have? I can. Yeah. Earlier, I just want to share. Earlier, there's some questions about LPA as well. So, feel free to ask me also lah. All right. I'm qualified to talk about that also, and I've been conducting this class for every month. And LPA and AMD also one of it. Personally, I want to share. Have you guys heard about My Legacy portal? Have you heard before? My Legacy. This is the initiative by the government whereby My Legacy is basically they collate whatever estate planning that you have done, CPF nomination, LPA, AMD, even the will writing, or come to a point whereby how you want your funeral to be carried out can be written and updated in the My Legacy portal using your SingPass. So just take a look at that website lah. All right. So that's I want to share because I also done myself my ACP, my LPA, and my AMD. Everything updated in the My Legacy portal. So my next of kin can access it upon my death. Okay. Yeah.
Any questions for Ms. Lim or Rizwan? Rizwan is our first